this is a great topic to discuss because I feel like the institution of marriage has declined in the last decade. In fact, I would say according to blackdemographics.com, in 2019, only 30% of African Americans were married compared to 48% of all Americans. And half or 50% of African Americans have never ever been married compared to 34% of Americans. So we want to touch on these components today from a man's perspective. What may lead them to why marriage may not benefit them? And that's what we're going to hit on today. All right. So the first subtopic that we're going to touch on that may be a huge component.
And what we are going to hit on today with my guest, Tremel Lawrence, is love and marriage in general. Why you need to prepare to enter a marriage, nurture the marriage while you're in it, and maintain the marriage so it doesn't end either prematurely or after a while, whatever. That's the focus of our the month of June, every month at the Daughters of Sheba Foundation. Hi, everyone. My name is Claudette Esterine-Campbell, and I am the president and chairperson of the Daughters of Sheba Foundation. The Daughters of Sheba Foundation is a nonprofit, Canadian-registered, Canadian-based nonprofit organization that operates mainly in Jamaica. We are women-centered, women-focused, so all of our programming are particularly aimed at women. However, last year at this time, which June is actually Men's Health Month, last year at this time, we did focus for the month on men's health. But we decided this year and this month to focus on love and marriage. And part of love and marriage is taking care of your man, taking care of your spouse, taking care of the health of the men in your lives. So my guest tonight is Tremel Lawrence. And tell me if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Tremel.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show.
No, thank you for accepting. Tremel is a personal relationship coach. He's a blog writer, an author, and talk show host, and founder of www.dbdssingles.com. You might wonder what that means. That means Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters, singles.com. And it is a relationship website. So as usual, folks, I'm going to ask him a lot of questions about his personal business. Tremel, people will tell you that when you come to Daughters of Sheba Foundation, and particularly when you're talking with Claudette, she fastens your business first and foremost. And I'm sorry, I'm Jamaican by birth, Canadian citizen for 20 years, but I get off into my Jamaican.
Love it.
So bear with me. Tremel, welcome. And thank you for being with us, folks. Please share the live. As I was explaining to Tremel, that we do have people who watch after the fact. We get a lot of our responses after the fact, so not to worry. And our motto here is, if we help one, we have accomplished a lot, because it's the ripple effect. You throw one stone in the water and you see the ripple effect. So, Tremel, welcome. My audience are women. So, they love it when I bring a man into the house.
Hey.
So that, we can hear their side of about us, what they want from us, what they think we can be doing better. But before we get into that, I want you, as I ask all of my guests when they come to a conversation with us, I want you to tell me three words that not a sentence, just 3 words that best describe the man you have become so far along your journey.
Okay, I like these icebreakers, I like to call them. Yeah, so the 3 words I would describe of myself will be more logic driven, more flexible, in other words, more open-minded, and more assertive, or just being a risk taker when it comes to things.
Okay. And so you said logic driven, which I'm not surprised by. A lot of men are. Tell me about open-mindedness. Why do you use that word to describe yourself?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to be, for myself, I'm very pragmatic. In order to learn and grow, you have to be open to other perspectives and apply it to those things that will make you a better person. That's a part of growth. That's human nature. So being rigid, means that you're not being open to new things and new ideas that would challenge your beliefs or challenge the way you think. And open-minded is the complete opposite. So that's what I consider myself.
So, when I sent you our roadmap, I call it,
Yes.
at the end of it, I said, and we would just go wherever it takes us. So we're going to take one of those detours right now. And he's drinking wine, folks. I said, before we started, I said, go get yourself a drink. And he says, yes, I'm going to grab some wine. I have some water. So let's just take a quick detour.
Sure.
Open-minded and men can be, some men can be an oxymoron for some men, especially on some topics. Is there anything that you would say, I'm not as open-minded as I am with this as I would be on something else?
No, that's a really good question. Part of my beliefs and values, I'm a huge advocate when it comes to marriage. I'm very traditional, as far as men and women coming together and not going against the grain. So one thing that I respect people's opinions, but one thing that I will never cross the line when it comes to things beyond a monogamous relationship, having more than just one partner. That's one thing that's against my belief. So I'm not too open to that, to be honest with you, open-minded in that area, because I just completely believe that, just men and women are the basic foundation when it comes to exploring, in my view, the best possible relationship throughout that particular couple's journeys.
So you are saying then you are into monogamy and heterosexual relationships. Got it. That's fair enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay. Yeah. So back on track.
I like that detour.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood, who you are, where were you born, what did you do in school? And people will tell you, I love to talk about food. So what was your favorite Sunday meal, or was Sunday meal your favorite meal? And what is your favorite thing to eat?
Listen, you got me drinking the wine. Now you about to get me hungry. Yes. I was born in New Haven, Connecticut, which is the home to Yale University. But a lot of people don't know that a few blocks away is a rough neighborhood. So in order to thrive and survive in those neighborhoods, you got to have not just only book smarts, but also street smarts. And I was raised by a single mother who did a lot for me. I learned how to be independent. I learned how to be responsible and so forth. And I learned how to pick my battles, per se. When it comes to just to pivot to food right quick, I'll have to say chicken. Can't go wrong with baked chicken. I know a lot of people like fried chicken, but baked chicken is my thing.
Is your thing?
Yes, baked chicken. But the rough neighborhood that I was in, I'm very fortunate that I had close friends as well as my mother that kept me grounded as well as kept me out of trouble. And
so let's take another little detour there.
Sure.
Single mother. You said you were raised by a single mother. Recently, I got into it. Well, no, I really don't get into it with people on social media because I realize that there are people on social media who are just here to troll other people and so forth. Of
course.
So I might make one response, and then if you keep going at it, I'm going to say thank you, and I'm done. So there was a post. I posted something on our Instagram page, and it was talking about a woman's daughter who got them evicted because she and her friends were by the pool twerking. And this gentleman, the name was a gentleman. This gentleman commented that single mothers are responsible for, like he would say, 70% of the homicides, and he just pointed at single mothers for everything. Now, statistics that might be right, but why I'm asking you is that in your experience with your mom being raised as by a single mom, did you at any point now looking back feel that you were at risk because it was a single parent household?
No, not at all. I know the statistics are pretty high, but my mother, she led by example. Even though there was a missing equation in the household. I did not have biological father in the picture, which I think a masculine man would have made me more, would have challenged me more to be a man and have me in control of my emotions in certain situations, or knowing how to lead in relationships in my early years. But having my mother and her having me in activities, such as being in the journalist club at high school, or having me at the YMCA, or we had one equivalent to the YMCA called the Q House.
Mm-hmm.
That helped me, that navigated me through my personal relationships and also through the rough neighborhood that I was raised in. So I truly believe, collectively, I could see that can be an argument, but individually, depending on what kind of mother you have, because there are some mothers out there that are so masculine that I would say they don't add that affectionate to that child, without a strong male figure in that household, and therefore, when you don't have that, a young boy can be overly emotional when it comes to certain things and not knowing how to pick the right battles. But no,
we're gonna have to have you back because that's something I want to talk about more in terms of growing up as a boy with a single mom. I was a single mother for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I raised a girl, so I would love to talk with you more about whether there's a difference, single mom with a girl, but that's for another time.
Well, that would be
So
a great topic. You just gave me an idea for a show.
so let's go back.
Yes,
So what was your
please.
first job and did you like it? And did it teach you anything that you would later use in your profession?
Yeah, my first job, I was 14 years old, and I was a custodian at in a like a type of high school. I was a custodian, just cleaning
So
up the
just for
building.
those who don't know what custodian is, he's like the janitor, the clean, yeah, the
There you go.
supervisor, the cleaning supervisor. Yeah.
There you go. The one that was cleaning off the graffiti off the wall and
Right.
cleaning up
Right.
all that stuff. So
Right.
I was that guy, or clean up the gum underneath the seat. So one thing that I took from that at a very young age, at being 14, I learned, and I keep this lesson with me till this day, is that good things don't come to those who wait. Instead, good things comes to those who take action. And I figure, just growing up, everything that I have earned in my life, you got to work hard for it. I don't, especially coming from a rough neighborhood, I don't believe in handouts. Some people get so conditioned of just accepting handouts. And I understand that, when one leg is up, sometimes we do need help. But I don't believe in using that as a crutch for the rest of your life, or taking advantage of handouts. I truly believe that we was all put on this earth to better ourselves, have a purpose in life, have a mission in life, be assertive, be a risk taker. So that's the most valuable lesson I learned 14. And ever since then, that was a summer job. And then my next job was at Kentucky Fried Chicken. And it just continued to go on. But I worked hard for it, and
Mhm. Oh,
thank
thanks for
God I had great
sharing that.
examples.
Wow. That's another. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going on any more detours with you because
Come on, we can go to a detour. Come on.
no, but a lot of my audience, and like I said, we were primarily in Jamaica, and
Nice.
Jamaica is I don't know the percentage. I could look it up, but I don't know the percentage. A lot of poverty, a lot of people living under difficult circumstances, and so
Right.
forth. And you're talking about living in a rough neighborhood, you put it, but it didn't stop you and you didn't wait for handouts and so forth. You know, some people might say, some people watching this now or later on might say, good for you because you live in America. Do you think that there's a difference because in America and here in Canada, there's at least we have more of it, a welfare system. Do this is a detour.
I love it. Come on.
Do you think that you quote unquote succeeded at that age because you had a buffer, whereby somebody in Jamaica in a rough neighborhood don't have that buffer except for their family and neighbors, don't have a governmental welfare buffer?
Good question. You know, personally, I just feel like, you know, you get out what you put in. You know, one of my favorite quotes from Bill Gates is that, you know, if it's not your fault if you're born broke, but it is your fault if you die broke. You know, and I pretty much believe in that sense. I mean, I know there's a lot of barriers against our community, our people. So I'm not here to fluff that. But at the same time, there are, you know, when you have something you're passionate about, when you have a purpose in life, when you have good values and morals and good examples to follow, I feel like those barriers can be knocked down. And
Oh,
some
brother,
it's
I so appreciate you saying all of that. I
Oh, thank you,
really,
sister.
yeah, yeah. I just want to acknowledge people who have
Mm.
joined us. Ashley Bless says, as a single mom, it can be very challenging raising boys, but all you have to do is to be very stern and very consistent with your rules. How many boys did you or are you raising, Ashley? And where are you located? Just so we have a sense. Or is Ashley someone you know, Tramel?
Hello, Ashley. How you doing? Um,
Do you know her? No?
no, I'm
Okay, I just wanted, it was one of your
don't know her,
fans who
but
followed you. No, no,
hello, Ashley.
no.
Glad to have her on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is our faithful Dr. Asha. Good evening, Dr. Asha. Dr. Asha joins me once per month for what we call a woman's prerogative, where we talk
Okay,
about anything. And
love it.
next week, Tuesday, Dr. Asha and I will be talking about the fundamentals of love and marriage in 2022. And good
Mm,
evening, Lorna. Lorna is one of our faithful, another one of our faithful, and she, I know, is raising a boy. She's not a single mother,
mm.
but she has a star athlete. She has one of Jamaica's next, either Usain Bolt or one of the other top athletes. She has a son. He's actually studying in the States. So thank you, ladies,
Ooh, okay,
for joining us. So
okay,
back on track.
okay.
Sure, you're talking about your mother. I would like you to share with us something extra special to you about your mom.
Wow. My mother, she was very independent. You know, she led by example. One thing I could say about her is that, especially in this, no knock to anybody out there watching a show,
Hmm.
but my mother did not bring home just anybody. She didn't have just any man around me, you know. And that's one thing I can just give her.
Appreciate.
Yes, I appreciate that because most of our sisters these days, they bring home males. They don't bring home men. And there's a difference, you know,
Tell us
males.
the difference. Tell us the difference. Because
Well,
it has to do with love and relationship. Tell us the difference.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So males, from my perspective, is just their biological function, you know, how they are designed, how they're made. For me, men are the brothers that are providers, are leaders, are protectors. And that's one thing that my mother just never brought home males, you know, just guys that didn't have any purpose in life or weren't leaders or
Hmm.
those that weren't willing to show some protective instinct. So that's one thing that was very special about her raising me, and truly grateful to that to this very day. You know.
Hmm. Good evening, Cleo. How you doing? That's another one of our faithful.
Okay.
Uh, and I do believe Cleo is raising at least one son. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cleo. So you would like what our guest Tramel is saying. And folks, Tramel is the host of a podcast, a weekly podcast. It's called Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters, and it's available on YouTube. So be sure to check it out. I played a clip from there earlier. So on to our next question. Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many? And tell us a little about them.
Okay. Well, I have two daughters. I have one that's 18. She just graduated from high school. So congratulations to my baby girl, Ayana. Yes, Ayana. And then my second one, she's 5. She's going on to kindergarten. So I have one leaving school. And I have one entering school.
Such a gap. 13 years.
Yes, a huge gap. Huge gap.
So what it feels like to be a girl dad?
It feels good. Actually, it feels good because, my wife and I, we just have this combination of the feminine and masculine energy in our household and the way that we are just embracing it. So, for example, I can recall when my daughter was like 8 years old, she was riding her bicycle and she did a wheelie right off the curb and she fell down and she hurt herself and she started crying. And my wife went over to her and just picked her up and consoled her and nurtured her and stated like, hey, baby, don't cry. Myself, I wasn't that nurturing. I just dust her off. I told her, hey, next time you see that curb, make sure you take a left. Do not take a right. So I guide her. And the next time she got on that bike, she did not fall off the bike because she took that wisdom in. She took that, what I stated to her in. So it just, having a young girl is truly amazing because you're actually showing her what kind of, showing her worth.
Man, she needs the worth. Life.
Right. And she knows moving forward as she gets older. Right now she's 18. So she has, her boyfriend is a very, a great gentleman, great gentleman. But the thing is that she knows what kind of men to avoid and what kind of men that are very serious. And I think it's
that's a lesson important. I personally didn't get. I had to learn by lots of mistakes.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, I mean it's very important to be the rock in your daughter's life, especially, as in my case, a little girl, because if little girls are able to trust their fathers or any masculine man or force growing up, then they will have a better chance of or insight to avoid those that are not worthy enough.
So our friend Cleo responded that she's a mom of 3 sons, raising one as the other 2 are 25 and 21 respectively. Okay. You guys have some serious gaps. You waited.
Hey.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So moving on, Tramel, let's just talk now about I read your profile and it said in your profile that your experiences shape who you are today, what you do. So share with us exactly what it is that you do today.
Okay. Well, what I do today, as you mentioned, I have my own podcast. I give, we provide different relationship topics that we share with our people to try to help them become a better you.
When you say our people, you mean the Black community?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I'm very open to helping all kinds of people, which I do. I do have all kinds of clients from different backgrounds, but the primary focus is our people, Black people, our brothers and sisters. So because this, as you mentioned with that clip, the statistics is pretty high, like marriage is declining. And that's what really made me get into this field of being a coach and helping people to experience what I experience right now, which is I'm happily married. I love it. You know,
you love being married. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I mean, if we come across that question, what's the benefits of marriage? I could tell you a slew of few, but if we want to take another detour, but but just I would say just the trials and errors, and you're not the only one. I think a lot of people have done the trials and errors that I personally went through growing up. At a very young age, I did not know how to navigate through relationships. I did not know how to control my emotions or how to deal with conflict, or allowing certain things to override my logic, per se. And,
can I ask an intrusive question? As you said that, have you ever found yourself on the brink or step over the line into violent action?
Of course not.
And how did you pull yourself back? How did you pull yourself back?
Well, you pull yourself back by just thinking, not feeling. You know, you have to be conscious of your choices, because no matter what decision you make, there's going to be some sort of consequence towards it. You know, you pick up one end of the stick, then it's the other end that you have to think about. So I tend to like just be more pragmatic, not trying to say that I'm an emotionalist person, but I control my emotions. I don't allow my emotions to control me, you know, whereas a lot of people through the experience, if they went through what I went through, just knowing how to navigate and learning off people and following good examples, some people didn't have that. So they have a harder time when it comes to being, you know, not in a relationship. So by the time they get into a relationship, they don't know how to deal with conflict or disagreements. They don't know how to communicate. You know, me and my wife, we communicate in an assertive way, which means we talk to each other respectfully. Other people that don't have those skill sets or that emotional control base, they tend to argue. They tend to, this is a new word that I use, but they tend to use ratchet communication. You know,
Ooh,
which
let me
means
write
that
that one down. Yeah, ratchet communication. What does that mean?
so that means just using illogical phrases. That means that you're calling your significant other out his or her name, going below the belt, trying to win the argument, you know, and when you win the argument, Willie, you both losing.
So you mean ratchet like the knife, like a ratchet knife where you just cut something off?
Yes, you cut yourself, but verbally, like
Yeah,
so deep,
exactly. Yeah,
right? So deep
get
that it
it.
can emotionally scar you, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So that's what I call ratchet communication.
Wow,
And
that's good.
yeah, so, you know, my wife and I, we just tend to, you know, we have assertive communication. When we do come across a conflict, we focus more on solutions. A lot of people just think it's black or white. Hey,
What does your wife do for a living? What field? You don't have to say what field. Healthcare, communication. What does she do?
healthcare.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does her her professional life help her in your relationship? Why I'm asking this, I'm talking about you as I think you're a Christian.
I
There's
am.
something in the Bible that says about being equally yoked when, you know, and I'm putting this to a relationship. Do you think that because your wife is in healthcare, you know, you yourself are, you know, an educated person, that your communication is at another level or is enhanced because she has communicated with people on a daily basis in her professional life, so it helps to what she
It,
brings to your table?
it does. Not only that, it helps to bring that to the table in healthcare, but even if we were to take that aspect away from her, she's a very um, laid back, soft spoken, strong, feminine woman. And
Some people might say that you can't be laid back, soft spoken, and strong at the same time, and they would be wrong.
oh, yeah, absolutely can. Absolutely can. I know my wife, she's the prime example. Which means that whenever we, you know, she is my PEACE as well as my PIECE. She's my peace.
Mm-hmm.
And she's, you know, the kind of woman that's just very supportive, and she is you know, the type of person that is a great communicator. But I think what we have an understanding that we both know that we are on the same team. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we have the same jerseys, we have the same we have the same high schools, we are running the same track. And even
Yeah.
if I was to one day finish at 30 seconds in the race and she finished at 55 seconds, we know that we are still working together to overcome that finish line together. So that way we are winning the race together. Whereas a lot of relationships I see fall apart, they more um, they compete with each other. They're not
Competing.
they're not collaborating. They don't understand that instead of being at this, you know, representing the same jersey in the same school, one person is representing a different school and the other one's wearing a different jersey. And you can't win a relationship that way if it's you against your significant other more than you and your significant other against the world. You know,
Yeah.
how can you win?
So, you know, this brings us to the meat and potato of what you do as a coach. And
Yes.
you are according to your bio, it says that you're a personal relationship coach. Now tell me, as a personal relationship coach, what would you say are the issues? And I'm talking about the Black community as well as any community, but also in Jamaica. I know you're not from Jamaica, but just imagine a section, 2.5 million or 3 million, mostly Black people in one country. What would you say as a personal relationship coach is one of the main issues you see affecting our relationships? And I'm not talking about friendship now, I'm talking about man-woman relationship.
Very, very good question. I need to come on here more often. Yeah, I mean, one of the most damaging effects to our community is the simple fact that most of us are raised to be independent. And there's nothing wrong with being independent, but I think the missing ingredient is human connection with someone else and learning how to be interdependent, meaning that you're independent, but you're dependent at the same time with someone that you're building a legacy with. And I feel like we're missing that a lot, collectively as a community. Other communities understand that.
Yep.
Listen,
the Asian communities do it.
It's only so much that you can fly with one wing. You need two wings, right? Being independent, you're just flying with one wing. And I feel that's missing. And the statistics we shows that how we are declining in that area and so forth. And I feel like us as a community, we need to get back into it. But not only that, I feel like some of the music that we listen to is very destructive. I love hip hop. But there's a lot of negative effects, not just music wise, but the images we see on TV, the shows we see on TV, making it normalizing that it's okay to, be single, or to say that I don't need a man, or for the man to say that I don't want to be, I just want a side piece, or whatever the case may be. But like, we're missing that core value that other communities have.
It's now 2022, and one of the arguments that people often put forward, not the primary, but one of the arguments that people often put forward is slavery, our experience of slavery.
Yes.
Do you still think that holds water? Do you think that after 400 years, we're supposed to have learned from our personal experiences that, hey, that doesn't work for us?
Of course, that still holds water, unfortunately.
Okay.
That traumatized. In fact, I think us as a people, I think every single one of us needs therapy. I mean, I went to therapy. I'm not ashamed to say that. The Willie Lynch letter, stating that have the light skinned folks versus the dark skinned folks, have pit the woman against the man, have the young versus the old. I think that we are still, locked into that mindset to this very day. They just the powers that be just use different methods to continue to have us glorify that it's okay to be independent. It's okay.
Even social media, the way these algorithms work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when do you do couples coaching or just singles?
I do both. In fact, my last session was with a couple, so I do both.
Okay. So when a couple come to you and say, we have been dating and we want to get engaged and married, what are some of the main things you say to them before they jump the broom?
Yeah. The main things I say to them is you have to know what you want. You have to make sure that you have similar values and similar goals, because if you don't have similar values and similar goals, that marriage or that relationship is not going to last. And too many of our people that get into these they get into the monogamous relationships and not understanding the values and goals, it becomes a rude awakening for them. So the most important aspect when it comes to relationships is having those two components.
So you don't believe in what they say, opposites attract and all of that? You feel that we should be singing out of the same hymn book, at least, if not the same page every day.
What I'm referring to when I say values, I'm referring to like core values.
Okay.
For example, like for myself, I don't believe in I don't believe in arguing, you know, and my wife, she doesn't believe in arguing, you know.
So that's a core value for you.
That's definitely a core value for us. You know, I believe in, you know, trustworthiness is another key component. You know, my wife has never went through my phone, don't check my social media status. Trust is huge for me.
You mean she's not watching us now?
You know, she's actually making a late dinner right now.
Okay.
Making a late dinner, but she's gonna catch the show later on.
Okay.
But me and her, we have this understanding that trust is freedom. And when I mean by trust is freedom is that
I hear you.
You got to have your partner. You must have the free will to understand that your partner will make that decision to be around you. They'll make that decision or have the free will to honor you or have the free will.
You also have to make the person want to be around you. And by making the person want to be around you is that you need to want to be around you.
There you go.
Yourself.
That's reciprocating. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
And it's just so critical. And, you know, a lot of couples just don't have that. They just jump in blindly, not fully knowing the other person. And this is why you always, you know, even before that, you got to get to know the other person. So we live in a microwave society that we don't take the time to get to know the other person. A lot of people are casually having sex.
We're into the what they call it, where you swipe left or you swipe right, and
yes, we're in
Tinder.
Yes, and I think it's so fortunate because whenever you put the dessert before the entree, you'll end up having a malnourished relationship. And I think when you do it the opposite way around, when you take the time to get to know someone, you take the time to put those little ingredients in. Get to understand how that person handles conflict, or if you guys came across a disagreement, how will you come across with a solution? You know, how do you compromise? How do you make sacrifices? I think today too many people are into these non-sustainable traits. Oh, this person has a nice body, or this person has
You want me to stand up and show them that it fades after a while?
Oh, I like that's true. That's true. Those
it goes after a while.
It does.
You know, there was something I wanted to say to you. I was in a relationship for 16 years, and
God bless you.
No, not anymore. I was.
Oh, I see.
I was, and this was like 10 years ago. I was in a relationship for 16 years, and the relationship ended. It ended for many reasons, but one of the pivotal point for the relationship to end, and this is important, was that I fluctuated from being a little girl who would go to church every Sunday because my mother sent me, to drifting away from the church, and then eventually living in a society which was then the USSR, the Soviet Union, where church was not a big deal. So I lived there for 7 years, you know, atheistic society. So then at that stage in my life, in my 30s now, I was in this relationship, and late 30s, we started to drift because I found faith, you know. So I asked the question, I give this example, is how important is faith when you're establishing a relationship, or trying to establish a relationship, in your view?
Oh, it's very, very important. I mean, me being a Christian, to me, you know, marriage is not just a piece of paper. I mean, it's a spiritual blessing, you know, that protects the marriage. It gives it an extra layer of emotional security and stability per se. And faith plays a huge part. I can't imagine, and again, that from my perspective, since I'm a Christian coming from that background, but without faith, I think you don't have that extra layer of protection if you don't
I
believe
call
in
it
something higher.
grounding. Yeah.
Yes, if you don't have that, so it's very critical because marriage is not easy. It's hard.
Can
I
you
know
say that again? Can you say that again?
marriage is not easy. It's hard.
Okay.
It's almost as if you're, when you're in the Olympics, you got to train for that gold medal. You got to make sure you're training. You got to make sure that you're giving your all 100%. So I call it the commitment above commitments. That's how I view marriage.
Earlier you said we could do a detour, and you're taking us down there now. Okay. You said you could tell us about the benefits of marriage.
Ooh, this what I detour.
Yeah, so you took us there. So what in your view? I was single for many years, then got married again, and my husband was murdered. So I'm now a widow.
Oh my God, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's fine. No, I'm a widow. So, and I've sworn that that's it. I'm dying single. So convince me, what is the benefit of getting married? What is the benefit of marriage?
Well, I'll name one. I mean, marriage, and this is a recent study. I'm not just throwing out an opinion. This is facts. But married people live longer and healthier lives. That's one thing. Wow. And, I'm not surprised at all because, the way I view marriage is like a lifetime contract with your best friend and lover in one. And the thing is that when you have that mindset that you're with someone that one, it takes care of you and vice versa, it's little to no stress, and that's a good thing to know because a lot of people just, and it all depends. You have to make sure you're married to the right person. So I just want to put that out there. It's not just marriage, just in anybody, but when you're married to the right person, you tend to be less stressful. Your mental health is actually good for your mental health because just as we were just speaking, my wife and I, we when we have disagreements, there's no blame versus counter blame because we both tend to focus on finding a solution to the problem, and we do it in a respectful manner. So that within alone is very soothing. Or when I come home from doing some errands or whatever the case may be, the first thing when I open the door, my wife is just kiss me on the cheek or kiss me on my lips and be like, "Hey, baby, how was your day?" Or there will be times that I feel like, man, the weight of the world is coming down on me, and she'll just be like, "Baby, you got this," and that just motivates me. That gets me, and vice versa. I do the same for her. So those are like, to me, those are like the benefits. Is definitely good for your mental health when you're with the right person because it's going to be not just in marriage, but just outside influences, outside influence. It could be your job. It could be your career. There's going to be a lot of, that's just life, a million things coming at you. But when you have that right person by your side, it definitely is good for your mental health. It will keep you under, even when the pressure is on, it will keep you definitely in a positive mind frame, I would say.
So right person, define the right person. No, lay out for my folks what they should be, the parameters they need to find the right, because it's going to be different for each person. Okay,
it is.
So what are the general things? Is it the height? Is it the weight? What are the things that make a person right for an individual?
Well, what you say about the weight, make sure they eat a lot of banana pudding. No, I'm just joking. No, you definitely want to make sure that the person that you're with, we already kind of dive into it, but similar goals and values. But the most important thing is, you want to make sure that they are emotionally sound or have high emotional intelligence. And what I mean by that is, not that particular person, not allowing their emotions override their logic, because sometimes we just go off emotions alone. And when we go off emotions alone, we just tend to not think about how this person can affect me financially. How can this person affect me mentally, physically, and so forth. So that's one thing you want to look out for. Another thing too, you must have standards. Gotta have standards. To have standards, you have to love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you love yourself, that creates um, that security shield. Your high self esteem is raised to a whole new level when you love yourself.
I tell
So
people all the time that if you want to be in a relationship with me, you have to come really, really good because I love myself.
there you go.
So if
There you
you're not
go.
going to love me more than I love me, it's not going to
It's
happen.
not gonna happen. I like that. And another thing too is look for sustainable traits. What I mean by relationship like type of sustainable traits, how does this person communicate? Is this person respectful? Is this person a good listener? Is this person, by their actions, do they have my best interests at heart? You want to definitely look into that, because whenever you make a decision to have that person in your life, whoever's going to be by your side, that's a correlation or an effect on how you view yourself per se. So I think it's very critical to love yourself, have those standards, so that way the better version of yourself will attract a better version that is on the same level as you are.
What about money? I remember one time when I was getting married, not the last time, we went to marriage counseling, and that was a big, it was a whole day or a 2 day session, and that was a big chunk of the module about
Mm,
money in the marriage.
good question. From my perspective, I always say character comes first before money, before popularity, because whenever you come across somebody with a good character, the money's going to come automatically. You know,
Mhm.
a lot of people just want to finish project, and whenever you just want to finish project, you don't. Some Let
Hi,
me rephrase
Clara.
it this way: some people will put preferences over values or a person's character, like how much money they make and so forth. You can have a person making six figures and they will yell at you or use ratchet communication or treat you as a someone that they don't value. Um, so one of my favorite celebrity couples is Denzel and Pauletta
Oh,
Washington.
yeah.
And when she first met Denzel Washington, she was making more money than him. But the reason why that she stuck it out with him is because of his character.
Look
And
at
he,
Michelle and Barack.
yep, there you go, another great example. So anytime you put the character first, and this is a great statistics, and I know my brother Carl shared that with me, especially our sisters out there. You come across a man with a good character, you will quadruple his income,
Hmm.
because sometimes all us men need is just a little nudge, a little support to get us to the next level. Men need that extra bit of nurturing and inspiration to keep them dedicated towards their actions. And if you have that mindset and knowing that same team frame that I talked about, you guys on the same team, I'm wearing the same jersey, you're wearing the same jersey. We're in the same school, you're in the same school, and we know we're in this together, you definitely will increase your relationship and increase the attraction level. So that's what I would tell my peoples out there.
What's your wife making for supper?
We talked about chicken at the beginning of the show. So she is making baked chicken, squash, and brown rice right
Okay.
now as we
So
speak.
I won't hold you way too long from that because, we try not to be
I,
longer than over an hour.
I could bring you a plate if you want me to.
Oh, nice. Nice. My next question is this. So, as I said at the start, we are focusing on love and marriage. What are your thoughts about why? I know we kind of touched on it already, but do you think that on a whole, not just marriages, but intimate relationships, are they going downhill, or are we just going through another learning curve, or what do you think is happening? You see so many people getting divorced, you see so many people, Amber Heard and one of my favorite actors, this nastiness that they went through 6 weeks,
Mm,
in our Jamaican society. I don't live in Jamaica, but you look on social media and you see men killing women, women beating up men. what's happening in your, is it just a learning curve that we're going through? We're rebalancing, or
I
what?
mean, those statistics that I share on the show, it is going down. I mean, it's been going down for a while, because today, like I stated, we live in a microwave society, you know, and many people are just hooking up for no reason without getting to know each other. And,
Mhm.
just like fast food, it may taste good, but it's not healthy for you, right? Um, compared to getting to know someone and really taking your time, it's like cooking, as my wife is making downstairs, a slow, well cooked meal,
Mhm.
because you got to have the right ingredients in order for that relationship to work. Um, so, I mean, in my group, some people are still embracing to be, single for the rest of their lives, and so forth, or which is, I think that we were created to, um, that we need each other. We complement each other.
Yeah.
So I feel as if that collectively, that's just hurting us as a whole.
But
You know,
but but take a woman like me. Put aside my age. Put aside my age. Um, I can take care of myself.
right?
Um, why do I need that problem in my life?
Why would you call it a problem?
Because maybe I'm not picking the right person.
I
And
mean,
I'm
that's
not
a
speaking about me personally. I'm just using me as an example.
okay, okay.
I earn my own money. I pay my own bills. I want to do or I don't do. If I feel like not having a shower, I don't. It's why would I? Is that where the world is going to, where more people just saying, why do I need this? Or is it that we don't learn, we haven't learned those skills that you talked about choosing the person that has a core values, a standard, da 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 da. Is that what's happening?
Well, first off, I don't believe a woman she should be selective, but she should not be picking a man. I think it's the opposite way around. I believe a man should be picking a woman. He should be pursuing that
Hi.
woman.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Sheila
Believe a
and
woman should
Clara.
pursue.
Mhm.
Because even back in the day, which is our instinct as men, we always been hunters.
The hunters.
We always been gatherers. We always been that's in our DNA.
But you
That's
got, except for you, Tremel, you guys have a way to gather every woman in sight. You can't handle one. You want the whole yard. Sorry.
yeah, but there you go talking about males. I'm talking about
Oh,
men.
man. Okay.
Males
You
think
did
that
make that.
way.
You did make that distinction.
Men don't think that way. Like when I was out in the market, I was looking for a bride-worthy woman. I wasn't looking to rotate a bunch of different exotic women. My whole
Okay,
focus
so
was,
that is going to be our next show or your
oh, there you
next
go
show.
with these
Bride
topics.
worthy
Look at
woman. What makes a bride worthy woman? And my Clara Brown is one of the directors of the Daughters of Sheba Foundation, and she
okay.
asked you if the nurturing doesn't it go both ways, and
Hmm.
Sheila asked you at what age do men think that way, start thinking the way you're saying.
Hmm. Well, I think I'll answer the first question.
Mhm.
Nurturing does go both ways, of course. Even though women are more naturally nurturing than men, because us men, we have a hard time of expressing our feelings at times, because it is a scientific fact that women can think on both sides of the brain, and us men, we only think on one side of the brain. So it takes us a lot harder to open up to a sister emotionally compared to sisters. But yeah, definitely when you have that right man, yeah, it does go. It reciprocates. There's different love languages for different people. Which is one of my favorite books, The Five Love Languages. Um,
Yeah, I
it's
spoke
a great
about that
book.
on Sunday, and
Right.
it talks about the love bank, right? Or the love,
Yes.
yeah, and the love tank. So
Hmm.
Sheila is asking you, at what age do men not think that way? Not think, about the looking for the body, rather than the substance.
Right. That's a good question. Just based off my experience and the brothers that I've been around, I'll say, they start thinking in that manner above the age of 25, in my view. But
Really?
but it does go. Yes, really. But it does go back to the maturity level, when it comes to our brothers out there.
You have to be raised by
Um,
single moms. I'm kidding.
oh, but the young ones, they, early age, we tend to like, think about one thing: how much women we can get,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter how many women we can get, but can we get better women? So the ratio is out there. I mean, this is another statistics, but women do outnumber men. So we have a whole bunch of options, but at the end of the day, it does come with a maturity level when it comes to our brothers out there, because
I'm going to disagree with you though that guys get mature at 25. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. Dr. Asher is making the point to you that Ruth pursued Boaz.
that who?
Ruth in the Bible, that she
Mhm.
pursued Boaz. And because this was in response to when you say that men did do the pursuing, they're the hunters.
We are.
But so what do you think about Ruth, who went after her man?
Well, I think that how it was designed by fate. If that man didn't show by his actions, then she wouldn't have been the one for him. I think, from my perspective, men, we are the hunters. We're the ones. One of my favorite movies.
Well, you see, we don't hunt that much anymore. So I guess the point that we're saying is that the hunting skills are gone in men. They're just collecting all that they can find along the way.
I feel that women, the way that they express themselves and to better off and to find out if that man has the interest of that particular woman, is based on how she carries herself. And if she likes someone, she doesn't hunt. She just flirts with them. And I think a lot of sisters that know how to flirt will give the attention that they're interested, but they don't just outright pursue, because if they pursue and they don't get to know that man to see what he's about, for him to prove his worth to her, they put themselves at a disadvantage for the wrong one to take advantage.
Flirting tips on another show. So Debbie has this to say. First of all, she says, good night, interesting conversation. And she gets that it's reversed, where the ladies are now pursuing the men.
Not the way
and
to
you
go.
think that's wrong, right?
I know that's wrong.
Out of the natural order of things.
Don't do it, sisters. Don't do it. Have Prince Hakeem come to you. Don't come after Prince Hakeem. If you want a man and if you want to see if he's really interested in you, flirt. Don't chase or pursue. Flirt. Allow that man to prove his worth to you. Allow that man to pitch the ball to you. He pitch, you catch the ball. So I think that when it's the opposite way around, you put yourself in a situation that you can possibly be dealing with a man that feels like he doesn't have to prove his worth to you. He doesn't have to engage you and set up plans and execute a nice date with you and really get to know you. Because if he knows that you like him more than he likes you, since you're pursuing him, he can easily take advantage of you, especially with the wrong man. So my thing is just like I tell my daughter, allow that man to pursue you. And if you like him, reciprocate. You truly like him, flirt. And if he's not paying attention, then honestly, he's not into you like that.
He's not all that into you. Most of the women here are disagreeing, that they don't think that men are ready mature at 25. That's what Clara says. That's what Sheila says. And Dr. Asher says the adult brain is considered fully developed at 25. Maturity in most men is much later.
Well, here's the thing. For the sisters that's stating that, you are not men.
Okay.
So I appreciate
you. What
guys.
do you know about 25-year-old men in terms of maturity that we, based on what you're saying, we don't know?
Well, I was once 25, and at that age point, I was looking for someone to settle down with. There are brothers
at 25. You wanted to settle
at 25, yeah, because I had all my fun early on at that time frame. At least I was just I was at a point in my life that I just wanted a companion. To me, from my perspective, from a Christian value point of view, there are just too many sexually transmitted energy out there,
Mm-hmm.
too many sexually transmitted disease out there. And, whenever you have a companion that that you're on that same level with, you take your time to get to know someone. That was and I guess it also comes by how you were raised, your influence. Like I stated, my mother, even though she was a single mother, she did lead by example. Other people close to me led by particular examples. And this is why it's so important, especially in our society today, to get back to getting to know each other before, we
No,
just rush
I
into
agree with the
things.
getting to know each other. But Clara is saying that if women are always taught to pursue their goals, why does the rule change if that goal is a man?
It's okay for a woman to pursue her goals, but I think as a feminine woman, feminine is patience, feminine is collaboration. Chasing or pursuing, those are action oriented traits. I believe that a man should put that action in and show his worth to that woman. I don't believe a woman should pursue a man, because too many of our sisters get hurt by pursuing the wrong man. They don't give that man enough time to prove his worth to her. And there are a lot of men out there, I won't say a lot, let me rephrase it, but there are certain men out there that love the thought of women to think that way, because it's so easy for them to use them. Some of these men will target women or prey on them based on knowing that they
You
like
think that they're
them.
thirsty?
Right. It's almost as if, just to use this as an example, it's almost as if a woman that's pursuing a man is almost as if she's an antelope, chasing a cheetah, knowing that that cheetah is a predator. But if she allows that man to pursue her, she'll have a better chance of engaging and seeing if this man is truly interested in her. She'll be able to gauge all the little subliminal things versus the opposite way around.
I don't know why my sisters came on so late, but what they're doing is forcing me to have you back for
Oh,
another conversation.
oh,
So because I don't stay much longer over an hour. So one of my second to last question is, as I told you when we started, we're a woman-centric organization,
okay,
but we love to speak with men to hear your thoughts about the direction the world has gone, and you have shared some of it.
okay.
And how do you see women in it? So briefly, what in your view can we as women be doing to better support our boyfriends, our husbands, entering in relationships? What do you think, in your experience, not just your personal life, but as a coach to singles and couples, how can we better the relationships that we're entering?
Really good question. Be supportive. Be his inspiration. Your inspiration will increase his actions.
Mhm.
Be his peace. A man should already
Listen,
be.
no, hold on. In Jamaica, we have a saying. When you say peace, it means something else. So, folks, he's saying PEACE. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Other
Breaking.
one has
Oh,
has another has another connotation. So,
oh, okay. Well, interesting. Interesting. Be easygoing. Be understanding. And the right man, he will definitely appreciate that. Us men, we're not really. The right man is very, very simple. As long as you're understanding, you're loyal, you're dedicated, you're very supportive, like his biggest cheerleader. The right man will go to the moon for you. The moon.
and Ashida is saying, "Be his happiness when he comes home." So,
I like that.
right
I love
there,
that,
that's
Rashida.
it. So, in closing, I want to start where we begin. Those of you who missed the opening, I asked my usual three questions, and I asked Tramel, what three words would he use to describe himself, where he is at now in life, and he said he's logic driven, open minded, and a risk taker. So as we close, I would like to ask Tramel, what 3 words,
Oh
years
man.
ago when I was in this church back in Jamaica, the pastor had us do an exercise to go to the end of our lives, and what would we want written on our epitaph or
Oh
said in the
man.
eulogy. So I'm asking
Hmm.
you, how what 3 words would you like to be used to describe Tramel Lawrence when it's your time to say goodbye?
Oh man. 3 words. See, I have sentences, but not words. 3 words. Good one.
Okay, give me the sentence. You're a man. Give me the sentence.
Oh man, you know, let's make love and loyalty great again. You know, let's get back to being there for each other. We need each other. That's what I want my legacy to be for our community out there. Forget too independent without a man, and forget the brothers out there that state they don't need a woman. We need each other, and I'm going to continue to do that work for the rest of my life.
Wow. Thank you so much for being here. Ladies, you need to come here earlier. We start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tramel is a personal relationship coach, blog writer, author, talk show host, and founder of www.dbdssingles.com. You can watch his podcast on YouTube at Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters. Go on over. He has a panel. Is it which nights is it, Tramel?
It's every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We have amazing topics like we having the one tonight. You gave me some great ideas on other topics. um, so please shoot by, and it was an honor being up here. I had a great time.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Tramel. Thank you, ladies, for joining. And please remember, this month, June, is our Love and Relationship Month. And on Monday, yes, I'm coming to you on a Monday. Next Monday, June 6th, we'll be having another special guest. Her name is Christy Sears Thompson, and she's also a coach, a psychologist, and she will be discussing parenting, how to choose the right partner, to enter a relationship, and having children with that person in, a love, in a marriage or long-term relationship. So that's on Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. in Jamaica. So please join us. And the week after that, Dr. Asha and I will continue the conversation. So they're asking you to say the site, your YouTube channel again.
Oh, thank you for asking, Debbie. Yes, definitely. My website is dearbrothersdearsisters.com, and I have a dating relationship site called dbdssingles.com. So, make sure you check out both sites, and, thank you for all the questions and the engaging conversations. And I appreciate the respectful dialogue. I do.
And on YouTube, it's called Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters. Just type that in and you will see his face, so you will know you're at the right YouTube channel. Thanks again, everyone. And thank you so much for being here with us, Tramel. We look forward to now I'm going to have to come up with some different topics, because I'm sure you're going to steal all the ones that
And Debbie, before we part ways, it's actually on YouTube is DBDS Live.
Okay,
So
sorry, my bad.
that's all good. So DBDS Live, but please check out my website, dearbrothersdearsisters.com.
Great. Thank you so much, and have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.